Hello and a big welcome to the channel. I'm the Motorsport Madman and this is a live discussion about who will take the 2023 seat at Alpine. It's probably the hottest subject in Formula 1 at the minute, and before anything is confirmed by any team, I wanted to go live and do a video about it because there's a few options on the table at the minute for Alpine. If you don't know how this works, how this has come about is Sebastian Vettel has announced his retirement about a month ago, and it set off this big chain reaction. So yeah, we're going to talk about that today. There's a few options on the table, like I say. We'll go through them all and just have a little chat about. I love if the racing's not on. My favourite subject in Formula 1 is the driver market, and the driver market is thrown in the air. It's thrown in the air by the Sebastian Vettel retirement. And yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. If you're new to the channel, if you're a Formula 1 fan, then get yourself subscribed, because I do live watch-alongs for every single qualifying and every single Grand Prix from the Formula 1 World Championship, as well as practice sessions, preview shows, news updates. And then, you know, when there's a hot topic like this, we come live as well for that. So if you are a Formula 1 fan, get yourself subscribed. If you do find yourself enjoying the stream, please do drop me a like. You know, it does help out the channel. So yeah, let's get into it then. So here he is, the big boss, Otmar Safnauer, and he's pointing his umbrella at you. Are you the driver that he's going to pick for 2023? Well, he's going to pick someone. He did pick one man, and he's been turned down. But yeah, who is going to be Esteban Ocon's teammate for 2023? Let's have a look at the options, because you've got to remember this is a great seat in Formula 1. You know, this isn't a back of the grid seat that's up for grabs. This is, you know, the fourth in Constructors' Championship. You know, they're comfortably ahead of McLaren now. They're pulling away from McLaren. They've got a big budget. It's basically Renault. You know, the Enstone team's big. It's, you know, it's basically a Renault Works team. They've got their own engine. You know, this is a big seat, and who is going to take it? So let's go through some of the options that they've got on the table. By the way, welcoming Chris Poundcoin on Tax. Welcome to the stream, and anybody else that is watching, either live on a replay. I appreciate every single one of you. So yeah, I think the most obvious and perhaps most likely candidate now is Daniel Ricciardo. He's obviously had a difficult couple of years. And to be honest with you, I think Daniel Ricciardo, since leaving Red Bull, has only had 2 or 3 standout moments. You know, he had a couple of podiums in his second year at Renault, which was good. I think in the middle of the season there for Renault. Then obviously standout win for McLaren in Monza. But other than a couple of flash in the pan performances, Daniel Ricciardo has been struggling for a couple of years, 2-3 years. He's been struggling, and could it finally be right time, right place for Daniel Ricciardo? Because he's made a couple of missteps, and you know, maybe leaving this team, because if he goes back to this team, this is like going back with your ex. You know, he left this team a couple of years ago for McLaren. It's not worked out. Now, from Daniel's point of view, he was asked on Sky Sports straight up, would you go back? He said he would. And this sort of got me thinking, because before last weekend, if you'd have said Ricciardo to drive for Alpine next year, I would have gone, nah. I would have gone, Daniel won't really be about that. And Alpine probably won't take him back anyway. And I probably would have dismissed it and gone, nah. In fact, I probably did. When I did a video about this whole Piastri thing a couple of weeks ago, I probably said, like, nah, I don't see it. But watching the interviews and the build up to the Belgian Grand Prix, which has just gone last weekend, there was some interviews with Ricciardo and with Otmar, and they didn't rule it out. You know, Daniel openly said that he would go back to them. And then when you look at it, you feel like they probably didn't want to let Daniel go. You know, it was Daniel's choice to leave them to go to McLaren. I just wonder now at this point, you've got Ocon in the other car. Do they give Ricardo another chance? Do they say, do they look at it and think, yeah, he's had a bad couple of years. He is struggling compared to Norris. But do they keep faith that Ricardo's still got it in his locker? You know, Sebastian Vettel's got faith that Ricardo's still got it in his locker. You know, Vettel's saying during the Belgian Grand Prix weekend that unfortunately, you know, McLaren didn't unlock Daniel's potential. And maybe it is that, you know, maybe he changed his team again, you know, albeit he has changed teams a few times now. But maybe he does change team again and the car's more suited to him, and all of a sudden we see 2018 Daniel Ricciardo back, 2017 Daniel Ricciardo. The more that I think about this, the more that I think I can see this happening. You know, like I say, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I'd have dismissed it and gone, nah, he ain't going to go back there, they ain't going to want him. But maybe they will. Maybe, you know, Daniel will want to prove a point. He want to go back there, sort of, you know, apologise and say, you know, I made a mistake. I left. I shouldn't have left. Maybe Otmar will believe in Daniel and think, right, we've worked with him before, so we know what he's about. He doesn't have to ingratiate himself in the team and get to know everyone. He knows the team. Maybe they trust in his performances. You know, he done well against Hulkenberg, whatever. Maybe they trust that they can bring the best out of Daniel Ricciardo. And I see this as a likely option now. But then there's the conflicting side of that. There's the other side of that. And that's his race results at the moment. You know, and Otmar and the team at Alpine have got to be looking at Daniel's current form and thinking, is this really a driver that we want to take on? Is this really, you know, he's going for a tough patch. You know, he's a back-to-back 15th place finishes now. In fact, I'll get his results on the screen because I do have that lined up. Let's have a look. So these are the McLaren results this season so far. Hopefully there's no heavy music kicking in when I switch scenes. But yeah, these are the season results for McLaren. So this is Daniel Ricciardo's form this year, basically. Now you look at Lando Norris on this side. Obviously his results there, you know, 7th, 5th, 3rd, you know, 8th, 6th, 9th, 6th, 7th, you know. Look at that. The look at the last 5 races. Let's look at the last 5 races of Lando Norris. You know, 6th, 7th, 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 12th. You know, Belgium didn't suit the car. Let's get that straight. You know, Belgium didn't suit the car. But look at that. A 6th and 3 7th places in a row for Lando Norris. Look at the last 5 for Daniel Ricciardo. 13th, 9th, 9th, 15th, 15th. I mean, look at the season, you know. He had a great 6th place in Australia, but other than that, I mean, he's picking up a point here and there, but on the whole, look, I mean, look, what's his average finishing position there? 12th, 13th? Lando Norris's averaging finish position is probably about 7th. So, and that's it, you know, championships, you know, this says it all, you know, championship standings, you know, Lando Norris on 76 points, 7th in the championship. Ricciardo only on 19 points, not even half what Lando Norris has scored. It's like a quarter. And 13th in the championship. So, you know, let's just go back to this screen. But do Alpine want to take this on and say, you know, and have the faith in him and say, like, we can get him out of this rut? Maybe they do. Maybe they do. Maybe they try and prove something together that Daniel's still got it. And listen, Ocon Ricciardo's a good lineup. It's a good lineup if Ricciardo can just maybe what he needs is a completely fresh start. You know, going to McLaren hasn't worked, and maybe this fresh start back to Alpine, total. You know, he needs a total zen restart, and maybe it can work. Maybe it can work. If they do take him on, I feel like it's a sort of last chance saloon for Daniel Ricciardo in Formula One. If Daniel does go to Alpine next year and is still in a slump, you know, and you've got Ocon finishing top 6 and Daniel outside the points, for example, you know, I think that's it. I think if he does go to Alpine, it's make or break. You know, you could argue that the last 8 races of his McLaren career that are coming up now is kind of make or break. But yeah, I think Daniel Ricciardo is certainly an option for Alpine and something that they'll be looking at. But did he take it on? Is it a bit of a risk with the form that he's in? Will they look elsewhere? Which brings me on to, will they look elsewhere? Will they look at Pierre? So yeah, another big option, and perhaps the best option, I think, in my view, the best option, it might be a costly option, but I think the best option for Alpine is Pierre Gasly. I think Pierre Gasly deserves a break. He deserves to go to a full works team. You know, since being dropped by Red Bull 2-3 years back, he's been stuck in AlphaTauri. Well, what was Toro Rosso, now AlphaTauri. He's been stuck in this team. They had a great season last year. You know, they had a great car last year. You know, Gasly was consistently top 8, top 6. You know, they had a great season. Then with these new regulations, AlphaTauri not really been on it. They've been, you know, they're probably the team that's fell off the most with these new regulations. AlphaTauri, Aston Martin as well. You know, really, Aston Martin and AlphaTauri have both really struggled to convert over to these new regulations. You know, AlphaTauri were in the fight for like 4th in constructors. You know, they were on it, and then all of a sudden it's 8th in constructors. Maybe they'll end up 9th because Aston Martin is scraping the odd point together. You know, Vettel was 8th in Belgium, albeit Gasly was 9th, but that was the first points AlphaTauri had scored since Azerbaijan. You know, so AlphaTauri points are few and far between. They've not really got it together, and Gasly's better than that, you know, and Gasly deserves a decent seat in Formula One. You know, he's proved over the last 2-3 years he's got what it takes. You know, he's won a race. You know, he's won the Italian Grand Prix in 2020, I think it was. So he's won the Italian Grand Prix, but it's not only that. It's not only the win. You know, he's had great consistency last year, great performances, and you know, I think he deserves it. He's French, which is a bonus. You know, is that a thing? 2 French drivers in a French team. Apparently, they don't get on. I've not seen any evidence for that. I don't know where people get that. I don't know where, but the general consensus is that Ocon and Gasly don't get on. I don't know where that stems from. There's something I've missed. There's clearly something I've missed along the way, whether it's off track or on track. I've missed something along the way, but apparently they don't really get on. But I don't think that's any reason not to go for it. I think this is the best option for Alpine for 2023, to be honest. Now, there is a spanner in the works, though. It's not all that simple. It's not just, right, Pierre Gasly, do you fancy driving for us? Yes, let's do it. It's not that simple. Because Pierre Gasly has already signed a contract for 2023 with AlphaTauri. And I said in a video a few weeks ago, well, probably going back 6 weeks now, I said in a video that he signed up too soon. You know, Pierre Gasly, in fact, I wrote this off as a scenario of Pierre Gasly going to Alpine. I wrote it off a few weeks ago because I was like, well, it ain't going to be Gasly because he's already signed up. But he can be bought out of it. You know, every man has his price, even for that which he hopes never to sell. I can see it being costly for Alpine to buy Pierre Gasly out of his AlphaTauri contract, but not impossible. I don't think it's impossible. I think the discussions will be going on behind the scenes. I think if they don't like the prospect of taking Daniel Ricciardo back, if they're looking at that form that I've shown you on the screen, and he's consistently outside of the points. If they look at that and go, he's 32, he's out of form, he's struggled for a couple of years. This guy, Pierre Gasly's in his absolute prime. He's like 25, I believe. Pierre Gasly, something like that, 24, 25. Deserves a break. French driver, quick. Has proved it over the last 2 or 3 years that he has got the pace and the mentality. I think this is the man. I think this is the guy. I think this is the guy that they take. And yeah, it might cost a few million to buy him out of that. I don't know. Obviously I don't know the numbers, but it's going to cost a few million to buy him out of that AlphaTauri seat, and it might be worth it. That'll then have a knock-on effect because then who do AlphaTauri take? Obviously, in the other car they got Yuki Tsunoda, who's not performing brilliant at the moment. Anyway, does that open the door for like a Mick Schumacher to go? But then, are they really going to take Mick in the Red Bull Junior program? It's a whole thing. They would really set off a chain reaction, because would AlphaTauri then go, right, we've got Yuki Tsunoda in one car, then do we promote a rookie? That seems like a bit of a dodgy lineup if you've got like a Liam Lawson or a Formula 2, let's say a Formula 1 rookie alongside Yuki Tsunoda, who's not really done much of note this season other than I think he finished 7th in Imola. Other than that, you've not really had a lot of moments where you've gone, great day for Yuki Tsunoda, phenomenal performance. You've not really, that's not really been a thing. Someone was saying to me the other day in the live chat, like, is Yuki Tsunoda under a bit of pressure? Is Yuki Tsunoda fully safe for 2023? I don't think so. So AlphaTauri aren't going to be keen to let their star driver go. Make no mistake, this is AlphaTauri's main man, Pierre Gasly. They ain't going to let him go for cheap. And the fact that Gasly's already signed up for next year as well, he might be a difficult one to prize him away from AlphaTauri, but not impossible. Welcome to the stream, Gav. Drop me a like if you do enjoy it, bro. Just having a little discussion on who's going to take the vacant seat at Alpine. So we've gone through Daniel Ricciardo. I think the best option is Pierre Gasly. There's a lot of pros to it. There's a lot of pros to this. Daniel Ricciardo will end up at Alpine. A week ago, 2 weeks ago, I would have been like, nah. I'd have been like, you don't go back to your ex, kind of a thing. He's left that team. But having seen the interviews during the Belgian Grand Prix weekend, I would say that it might be the most likely option, that it might be the favourite, but I would not rule out Pierre Gasly, If Alpine don't fancy it, this is your man. Because Alpine might not fancy it, Gav. Because Daniel Ricciardo's form is, over the last couple of years, it's not been great, as it to say the least. And Alpine might look at it and go, you know what? It ain't worth the risk. Can we bring Daniel out of his slump? Is it our job to do that? Or do we just get a driver who's not in a slump and who's performing well? Is it a bit of a risk? So yeah, I think they'll look at Pierre Gasly. I think if I was in charge, if it was my decision, I think I'd take Pierre Gasly. I think I pay AlphaTauri the money. I know he's signed up for 2023. I give AlphaTauri the millions, and I get Pierre Gasly, and I have a driver line of Esteban Ocon, Pierre Gasly. It's solid, that. That's solid. That's a team that can fight for fourth or better in constructors. You know, maybe they go for top three in constructors next year. That's a team that can take you there. Taking the risk of Daniel Ricciardo, it could pay off, and you could get 2018 Daniel Ricciardo back, and all of a sudden, yes, and now Ricciardo's back in the groove, and he's diving down the inside, and all of a sudden it's the old Daniel Ricciardo, and they go, phew, you know, we've got old Daniel Ricciardo back. We're away, you know, he's won 7 or 8 Grand Prix, Daniel Ricciardo. We've got the Grand Prix winner, Daniel Ricciardo, back in the team. Or it could be McLaren Daniel Ricciardo, and they get him back, and you've got Ocon finishing top 6, top 5, and you've got Ricciardo finishing 14th, and they're going, we've not got him out of the slump. We've not got him. It is what it is now, you know. They might, you know, what happens if they sign Ricciardo, and after 10 races they realise he ain't scoring points. He's scraping a P12 on a good day. Like, it's a bit of a risk. I think that's why they've got to look at Gasly. Now, as with anything, as with any transfer, whether it's football, whether it's Formula 1, whether, you've always got your outside shot. Now, I'm a big fan, so I am biased, but I would love it if Alpine went and got Mick Schumacher. Yeah, this ain't going to happen. This ain't going to happen. This is a fan fiction situation. But I would love, like an Alpine, I reckon he'd step up. Like, legit, I reckon he would actually step up. Like, this ain't happening. I understand that. I get that. Albon to Alpine. Nah, Albon's happy. He's signed a multi-year deal. No, he won't want to stay at Williams forever, but he's signed, I don't know if it's 2 or 3, I can't remember, but I think Albon's pretty happy. I'd be surprised. I think Albon is pretty secure. He's got, you know, he's secured his seat in Formula 1 for the next 2 or 3 years. I think he's out. Yeah, he won't want to stay there forever, but I think for 23, 24, he's a Williams driver. And then by the time he gets to 26, 27, then maybe, you know, he deserves another chance at the top. I don't think Albon's in the picture. Maybe I'm wrong, and, you know, I mean, he got a great point in Belgium, didn't he, Alexander Albon? He is one of the most underrated drivers. But I would kind of rule that out. I think he's happy enough at Williams for now, for this point in his career. He just wants some stability. You know, because being a Red Bull Junior driver, he didn't have that kind of stability. It was kind of 6 months and then you drop, 6 months, then you're promoted, then you drop, then you... Oh, it's just... Being a Red Bull Junior is not very stable. Unless you're straight out of the marks like Max Verstappen and you never look back. If you're not out of the blocks quickly as a Red Bull Junior, you're under pressure and you're changing teams every 6 months and... you know, he's got that security now at Williams. You know, he's got the 2-3 year deal, whatever it is. He'd be happy enough. But yeah, this is the outside shot. The Mick Schumacher. Obviously, not... he basically hasn't got a seat for 2023 yet, Mick Schumacher. Now, hopefully, Haas decide to keep him on. But imagine Alpine went, do you know what? He's had a couple of great performances as Mick. You know, he's had P8 in Austria, P6 in the British Grand Prix, or the other way around. It might have been P6 in Britain, no, P6 in Austria, P8 in Austria. It's one of the two. I think it was 8. In fact, let's have a look. Let's have a look what it was, because I've got it here. That's McLaren. Let's go to Mick Schumacher. There. Yeah, so it was 8th in Britain, 6th in Austria. So Mick has had a couple of outstanding performances. Mick has had a couple of, you know, he's not a dead scenario. I reckon this is got a 1% chance of happening. No, but do you know what, right? On the real, even though I'm a big fan, because his dad was my childhood hero, basically, I think if they take a risk and go, we're getting Mick, I reckon he steps up. I honestly reckon he would step up and all of a sudden he'd go, right, now my career begins. I think if Mick moved teams to, like, even if he moved to another mid, even if he moved to Alfa Romeo, or if he moved to, I feel like if Mick got a move to another team, I feel like he'd be reinvigorated. I feel like Mick could go, right, now my career starts. Like, if Mick gets the Alpine seat, which he won't, but I would love to see it. I think he goes, right, now we start. Haas was the warm up, get me used to it, get me feet, get me foot in the door, get used to it, get settled in. Bang, Alpine, now we go. And I reckon all of a sudden the elbows would come out. He'd be like, right, they've believed in me. We've got a proper car. We're not fighting for 19th anymore. I mean, Haas is actually pretty decent this year. But we're not at the back. I think that would reinvigorate him. And I think all of a sudden people would wake up and go, oh, you know what I mean? Mick Schumacher ain't just another. I reckon he'd step it up. But I just hope he's in Formula 1 next year, Never mind the Alpine move. He ain't getting the Alpine move. I just thought I'll put him on the list because he's a free agent. He's a free agent. He won't be, in fact, the other day it got announced that he won't be a Ferrari Junior next year as well. So, he's free. He's a free man. Nah, Alpine. I think realistically it's between Ricciardo and Gasly. But you never know. We've seen crazier things in Formula 1. I remember 3 drivers turning up in Australia one year thinking they'd all got a Sauber contract, And so, crazier things have happened in Formula 1. And I would love this. This is my dream scenario. Ricciardo goes to Haas. Mick goes to Alpine. Can you imagine, right, if Gunter Steiner was going to drop Mick and think, nah, Mick ain't got it. Drops him, Alpine take the risk and go, your dad was the greatest of all time. And they have a conversation with him and go, are you up for this, Mick? If we take you on, will you step up? Will you step it up? And he goes, let's step it up. And like they have a conversation, and like Gunter Steiner drops Mick, right? They think, right, he ain't got it. No. Alpine take him as a risk, outside bet. They put the chips in the middle, you know what I mean? They go all in. They put the chips down. They take him on, and then he pays off. Could you imagine? Mate, I'll be dancing down the road, mate. But yeah, it's an outside shot. It ain't going to happen, but I had to include it. Did Alpine lose the contract case of the other driver? No, that's outstanding. That's yet to happen. Is Ricciardo going to Haas? Yeah, probably not. Probably not. That's the thing, Ricciardo, depends how desperate you are to be in Formula 1. Is it being Formula 1 at all costs? I don't think it is for Daniel Ricciardo. I think if he doesn't get the Alpine seat, he probably leaves Formula 1 and goes to IndyCar or goes to Endurance Championship or Rally or whatever, and goes and tears it up in America or in a different series or Formula E. Maybe, hopefully not. I feel like hopefully not. But yeah, I think he'll look at other series if he doesn't get the Alpine seat. So yeah, now there is a spanner in the works with all this. So Ricciardo, Gasly, Schumacher, right? But could we end up in a situation where Oscar Piastri has to backtrack? I think this is worth mentioning, because some interviews with Otmar Safnauer this weekend, the past weekend at the Belgian Grand Prix, some interviews with Otmar Safnauer. In fact, I'll put him on the screen there as well. Oh yeah, no, that looks good. That right. So some interviews with no, I don't like Formula E. I can't stand Formula E, Gav. I think it's absolutely atrocious. I think it's mate. No, Formula E is not the one, mate. The viewing figures, I reckon, must be about 10. Like, it ain't the one. I reckon a souped-up Volkswagen Golf would give a Formula E car run for its money. I reckon they could drive around in Volkswagen Golfs and it'd be more entertaining. But anyway, I'm not going to bash Formula E. It is what it is. I think it's horrendous. Right, anyway. We could end up in a situation where, through a messy court case, Piastri has to drive for them. And he has to backtrack and go back with his tail between his legs and go, yeah, I did sign this in November. And just sort of say, sorry, I messed up. I've got an agreement with you. And it ends up where it's a little bit awkward, but Piastri drives for Alpine. You cannot categorically write that off as impossible. That can happen. Now, will it happen? I don't think so. I think you're going to see a McLaren lineup of Norris, Piastri next season in McLaren. I think it's already agreed. I think that will be the case, and you'll probably see Ricciardo back at Alpine. But you never know. If Otmar really does go all guns a-blazing and say, you know, and they win the court case, it's going to either cost someone a hell of a lot of money. It might cost McLaren a hell of a lot of money to buy Piastri out of it, which is not really the best foot to be starting a relationship on with McLaren. Welcome in, Will Rally. Is he out of Twilight? Oh, yeah, it does look like the guy out of Twilight. I will rally. Ricardo, where's he going? Where is he going? Well, this is the same conversation. No way, Latifi Williams 2023. No. Cheers, Chris. Alpine embarrassing. Yeah, it is embarrassing. Will Rally Sport or McLaren Piastri. Yeah, this is the thing. Williams or Alpine. I don't think Ricciardo go to Williams. I think if Ricciardo doesn't get the Alpine seat, he leaves Formula One. I don't think he stays in Formula One for the sake of it. I don't think he's staying in Formula One for the sake of it. I think he's either going to Alpine or he leaves. I think he'll go to IndyCar, tear it up in IndyCar, or, you know, sports cars like what Alonso did, World Endurance Championship or whatever, or rally. I think he'll tear it, or NASCAR. He'll go to America, and, you know, there's life beyond Formula One. There's other categories beyond Formula One, and I can't see him just staying in it for the sake of it and, you know, finishing 17th in a Williams. I can't see him being about that. But yeah, anyway, so we've gone through. If you missed the start of the stream, I'm sorry, you know, you can go back, whatever, right? But we've already gone through, right? Ricciardo is option A. Pierre Gasly, option B. If they don't fancy the risk of taking back Daniel Ricciardo, I think they've got to look at Pierre Gasly. It will cost them money to buy him out of his AlphaTauri contract, because you've got to remember Pierre Gasly signed up for AlphaTauri, but Alpine can turn around, throw money at AlphaTauri and say, we want Pierre Gasly. This is the money. And they go for you, man. I think that's what I would do. If I'm this guy with the umbrella in his hand here, if I'm Otmar Safnauer, I go and get Pierre Gasly out of AlphaTauri, no matter what it costs. I go and get Pierre Gasly and put him alongside Esteban Ocon. I don't take the gamble on Daniel Ricciardo. You know, he's 32. He's been out of form for 2.5 years. I probably sidestep it. I probably do. If I'm in charge, I sidestep Daniel Ricciardo. I'm sorry, like. It's all right being out of form for 2 or 3 races, but he's been out of form for like 2.5, 3 years. Now I sidestep it. I go all in Pierre Gasly. Will that happen? I don't think so. I think you'll end up with seeing Daniel Ricciardo back at Alpine. It may or may not work. I would go all out for Pierre Gasly. Because I'm a Mick Schumacher fan, I included Mick Schumacher in the conversation. Because it's an outside bet, it won't happen. Alpine won't take Mick Schumacher, but if they did, I would absolutely love it. I'd be spraying the champagne all around it. Be full celebration mode. It won't happen, but I had to include him in the conversation. And then finally, you've got your man Oscar Piastri, who rejected him, turned him down, but may have to go back with his tail between his legs if Otmar Safnauer wins the court case in the, what do they call it, the Fair Contracts Court or whatever it's called. K-Mac at Haas, I'm pretty sure that Kevin Magnussen is locked in at Wheel Rally Sport. I'm 99% sure that Kevin Magnussen is a Haas driver for 2023. Whenever you see any graphics about who's going to drive where for 2023, Kevin Magnussen at Haas is always like in the certain category. So yeah, as far as I know, Kevin Magnussen's signed, sealed, delivered. He's in. Bring back Marcus Ericsson. Can't see that, although he's doing bits in IndyCar. Indy 500 champion Marcus Ericsson just shows you the standard. He's anonymous in Formula 1, but you go over there and you can make yourself the main man. And maybe that's what Daniel will do, He might be finishing 13th in Belgium, whatever he finished, 15th in Belgium. He might end up 13th in the championship. He might go over to IndyCar, be the main Donny. In fact, I've seen a headline, IndyCar having a hell of a season. There's flipping 7 drivers in with a chance of winning the championship with 2 races to go. I wish Formula 1 was like that this year. My God, the championship's dead this year, isn't it? Verstappen's absolutely walked it. The awkward thing is, Verstappen's going to win the championship and there's going to be like another 5 races to go. Mate. That's like going back to Michael Schumacher's day, that where you're winning it with 4 or 5 races to go and it's like, what do we do now? Like, I've got to get excited about the battle for like 4th in constructors for the last 5 races because Verstappen is just walking it. But anyway, I've gone off on a tangent. What we're saying in the chat, good point. You go Danny Rick, would you? You do Will Rally would go Danny Rick. I go Pierre me. I think Danny Rick's just been off it for too long. If he'd have had a few bad races in a row, I'd be like, that's fine. He's going through a bit of a bad spell, but it's more than a bad spell. Apart from his win in Monza last season, it's a flash in the pan, one-off result. Other than that, it's not been great, has it? Long contract. No, I don't think Kevin's got a long contract, but I think he's pretty much certain for next year. I think he's tied in for next year. See if he has to stay at Alpine, who would McLaren go for? Then back to Daniel Ricciardo. Well, exactly. Could you imagine that? If Piastri's forced to stay at Alpine through a decision that the courts make, and then has to go back and go, oh, well, I'm sorry, guys, I messed up. What did McLaren do? At that point, they've already let Daniel Ricciardo go. I mean, I don't even know what McLaren would do in that scenario. Would they try and get Gasly? This is totally off the cuff. Would McLaren then go, oh, let's us get Pierre Gasly out of the AlphaTauri contract? Get Mick Schumacher. No, but nah. I think it's an outside chance, and I don't think Piastri will be forced to drive for Alpine. But you can't rule it out. The way that Otmar Safnauer was talking, the other day on Sky, I was like, hey, there's more twists and turns to come from this. There's more twists and turns to come from this conversation. I don't think it's home and dry that Piastri's going to be a... I mean, it'd be announced now. I could get a notification on Sky now. Piastri announced as McLaren's second driver. Like, I appreciate that could happen at any moment. But until that happens, and until the phone goes... and it's the headline, until that happens, you never know. He could be forced to. I think behind the scenes, he's Otmar Safnauer is really going to press it, and if Piastri isn't going to be driving for them, I think it's going to cost someone a lot of money. I think it's going to cost McLaren a lot of money, and it could be a right old mess. It could be a right old mess. Okay, Ericsson G says not good. Who do you think at Williams? I do not know who's going to be the second driver at Williams. Maybe to take a rookie, this Logan Sargent. Is he American, Logan Sargent? I feel like he's American, which kind of, from a PR point of view, makes sense. Because the US haven't got a driver to cheer for. I think he's American. I might be making a complete fool of myself. But if not, maybe Williams go for a rookie. I think they've got to change it up, Williams. If Mick's let go, does Mick go to Williams? Potentially. Because Gunter Steiner might drop Mick Schumacher, so Mick might go to Williams. I feel like that's a decent lineup. Albon, Schumacher. You never know. I don't know. That's a different conversation for a different day. Worst driver seen with Alguersuari. Alguersuari wasn't bad, and I don't think that's how you spell it, but it was a weird spelling. It was Algue. Yeah, Alguersuari. He were a good driver. He was the youngest driver ever to compete at the time. I think he was like 18. Then obviously Verstappen's younger than that. But no, Alguersuari wasn't that bad. You got to look at like Narain Kartikeyan and like Yuji Ide and I was going to say Maldonado, and then I just got a flashback of the 2012 Spanish Grand Prix they actually won. So you can't include Maldonado as one of the worst. Nah. Karan Chandok wasn't very good, was he? Karan Chandok's a great pundit, but he wasn't great in a Formula 1 car. Yeah. There's been a few dodgy ones. Over the years. Anyway. In which race do you think Verstappen will be champion? I'd have to work it out mathematically. But Oscar, I reckon he wins it with like 5 races to go. How many's to go now? 8 races to go. If he wins the next 3, he's got to be getting close. Because what's the gap? 93 points or something like that. So if he wins his home race, which, come on, bar a technical failure, he'd probably win his home race. Then you've got Monza. You never know in Monza. Ferrari could come in clutch at Monza. I reckon he wins it and there's still another 4 races. I'll put it that way. Which is, or 5 maybe. So where does that leave it? How does a championship go? So you've got round 15 Zandvoort. So you've got round 15 Holland. Right, then you've got Monza. Then what is it? Singapore, Japan. So you've got Monza. Then Singapore, which would be round 17. And then you got Japan. I think he wins it in Japan. Then you got Japan. And then you start going like US, Mexico, Brazil, Abu Dhabi. I think he wins it in Japan. But honestly, I think if he wins the Japanese Grand Prix, but I think by then he'll have a big enough points lead. Verstappen will win it and there's still 4 or 5 races to go in flipping. Yeah, Oscar, I agree. I think Japan, you know what I mean? And that would be kind of legendary as well. Like Japan is one of those circuits. It used to be at the end of the calendar, Japan, like in the 90s and that. It used to be always like a big finale in Japan back in the day. But I think Vettel won one of his championships there in Japan. 2011 or something like that. John Sargent and Norwich. You're banging him in. No, different sergeant that. Mazepin, he was terrible. Not just because he's Russian, it's bad. No, like Mazepin was generally like, doesn't matter what nationality he was, like he wasn't good, mate. Chandok at catering, mate. It was a nightmare that. That was embarrassing at Spa. Knowing catching Max this season, exactly. It was crazy, wasn't it, Real Rally? Ferrari messing up. Russell crap car. But this is it, the Mercedes have dropped off, which is a big disappointment. I was hoping 6 cars were going to fight for every win for this part of the season, but it's not turning out that way. If he wants to win in Japan, he has to be 111 points ahead. Oh, is that including like fastest laps and stuff? I think he can easily be 111 points ahead, isn't it, Oscar? If he's 90 something now, he'd probably win his home race. Then Monza, well, you never know. Monza, maybe Mercedes come up with something straight, go low downforce, someone takes a gamble, maybe they can upset the apple cart in Monza. But then after that, you got what? Singapore? If he wins in Singapore, then he'll be in a position where he probably can win it in Japan. If he wins and then Leclerc's like, there'll probably be a scenario where we get to Japan and it'll be like, Verstappen will be champion if he wins, Perez is lower than 4th and Leclerc's lower than 2nd. There would be some, I reckon by the time you get to Japan, there'll be some scenario in which Verstappen can be champion. You put it that way. If it carries on like this, he's just absolutely dominating it. But yeah, we've gone off on a complete Verstappen tangent here, but it is what it is. We have a chat in it. Well, you know what I mean? It's not a watch along. We can just have a chat. This is what I like. I rate that we've got got some Formula One fans in the chat. We're just having a discussion. I think Button won in Japan. No, he didn't win the championship in Japan. Maybe Vettel didn't. I feel like I've got a memory of that. Button has won the Japanese Grand Prix. But he won his championship in Brazil, innit? Yeah, 2011 Button won it. Yeah, won the race. Yeah. But in fact, that'd be a good quiz question. Who was the last driver to win the championship in Japan at the Japanese Grand Prix? Because I'd probably get it wrong and go Vettel. But I don't think Vettel actually did he? I remember he won a championship in India. That was 2013. 2012, he won it in Brazil. 2011... Did he win the 2011 championship in Japan? 2010, obviously, Abu Dhabi. I can't remember where Vettel won the 2011 championship. Because 2012, he won it... at the Brazil finale, that epic finale. In fact, that was one of the best races I've ever seen, Brazil 2012. And then 2013, he won it in India. 2011 won in Japan. I feel like he did, didn't he? Even though he didn't. Did Button win the race? But then, like Vettel finished 2nd and won the championship in Japan. I feel like I've got some sort of a memory about that. Anyway. I've gone off on a full tangent. But basically, Ricciardo's probably going to go back to Alpine. Long story short, 49.5 minutes in. Abu Dhabi, what a track. Yeah, I mean, if you like that modern, the modern nighttime races like Saudi Arabia, the facilities are absolutely top notch. I mean, I wouldn't rate it as one of the best circuits. But as far as like location and facilities and the modern look of Formula One, Abu Dhabi is absolutely unbelievable in those categories. Is it the best circuit in terms of a challenge and the design? And no. But the location, how it looks on TV, and the flipping, like you say, with the glass hotel going over the circuit and everything is it's got a lot of plus points. Abu Dhabi, put it that way. But you can't be doing without Spa and Monza and Silverstone and the OG tracks where it's actually the circuit that is unbelievable. Yeah, you can't be doing without Spa, Monza, Silverstone, Suzuka, one or two others. Flame Track, your favourite F1 circuit? Oh, in the F1 game? And the F1 game, probably Monza. Probably in the game and in real life, probably Monza for both. It's just the what do they call it? The flipping, oh, I should do the something of speed, either the theatre of speed or something or other. I can't quite remember, but Monza for me, all day. That'd be my dream race to go to. Yeah, Monza. Belgium are pretty good. Australia as well. Melbourne I like just as a destination. You know, Albert Park, beautiful, and that. Canada as well, a good one. But yeah, no, Monza takes it for me. It's the original beast. Singapore, yeah, Singapore's a great one to go to. But anyway, I'm probably going to wrap it up about now. Yeah, just as a bit of a roundup then, I think Ricciardo may be the most likely option. If Alpine fancy that they can get him out of a rut, I reckon Ricciardo's your most likely option. I would like them, and I think it's the best decision for Alpine to go and get Pierre Gasly. I think that's what I would try and do. I think that's what they should do. I think that shows more ambition. In a weird way, I think it shows more ambition. If they go and get Pierre Gasly out of AlphaTauri, I think that shows more ambition than just kind of settling for Daniel Ricciardo again. Like, oh, he's not got a seat. Oh, we've worked with him before. It feels like kind of like, oh, we've been ditched, you've been ditched. Oh, let's get back together. That's how it feels to me if Ricciardo goes back there. It's like, you know, we've been ditched because Alpine have been ditched by Fernando Alonso. Ricciardo's been ditched. Let's team back up. Maybe it works. You know, maybe it does work, and they sign up, and all of a sudden they get 2018 Daniel Ricciardo back. Maybe it does work, but I feel like it's an easy option. I feel like if they sidestep Daniel Ricciardo and they go and get Pierre Gasly out of AlphaTauri, it's more of a statement. I think it shows more ambition that. Even though, you know, Daniel Ricciardo's got the better stats, has had the better career to this point, for some reason in my head it does show more ambition if they go and purposely go and buy Pierre Gasly out of AlphaTauri. Yeah, obviously then you've got your outside chance, Mick Schumacher. I had to include him on the list. He ain't going to get the Alpine drive, but I'd love to see it. That would be the big shock headline scenario. You know, let's say Mick's dropped and Alpine pick him up and they take a gamble. I'd love to see that. It won't happen, but I had to include it because it can happen. It's possible. And then you've got this scenario, the fourth scenario, that Piastri's legally obliged to drive for Alpine. I don't think that's going to end up being the case, but you can't rule it out. We could have some awkward scenario where it turns out Piastri can't get out of it, and that could be weird. That could be prepared for weird if that happens. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have enjoyed the stream, please do drop me a like. Obviously, it helps out the channel. But yeah, it's been a good chat. I'm glad that we've had a few, you know, we've had a bit of a discussion in the chat. We've gone off on various different tangents, which I love. You know, I love just going down who won the 2011 Japanese Grand Prix. You know, that had absolutely nothing to do with the stream, but we love it. But yeah, favourite race and stuff like that. Why not? But yeah, cheers, guys. Don't hope Verstappen win the championship in Japan because I'm a European. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. He wins it when he wins it. I think it's pretty much certain he will win it now. But it is a case of when rather than if for Max Verstappen. But who will get the Alpine seat next year? We'll find out, I'm sure, soon enough. But yeah, until the next one, I'll be back live. In fact, I've already got the schedule there. So this is a schedule for this weekend. Hopefully that's on the screen right now. before I go, yeah, so that's going to be the schedule for this weekend. I'm going to go live. We'll do a little bit of a preview at 11 o'clock. Practice 1 will start at 11. This is on Friday. Someone someone just on a mad Twitter response thing. But yeah, so it'll be live from Friday 11 a.m. Practice will start 11:30, so we'll have a little bit of a preview running into practice. Then I'll be live for practice 2 as well, just 5-10 minutes before that starts. That starts at 2. Then obviously Saturday for the qualifying, be live 10 minutes before that, and then for the Grand Prix, I started going live half an hour before lights out on a Sunday, just to give people a chance to find the stream and get in. So yeah. Oh, I have to get up at 7 a.m. Oh, I know. Well, that's what it's all about. In fact, I love. Let me go back to that. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Please do drop me a like. Like I say, if you are a Formula 1 fan, get yourself subscribed. You've just seen the schedule live for every single qualifying, every single Grand Prix from the Formula 1 World Championship. But yeah, we might have to get up early, Oscar, to watch Verstappen win the championship in Japan. Yeah, it might be 5-6 a.m. one. But yeah, guys, the discussion continues on Alpine and who will drive for them. I'm gonna say they go and get Pierre Gasly out of his house. That's what I want to see. Pierre Gasly is bought out of his contract, but we will see. Anyway, catch you 11 a.m. on Friday for the preview show ahead of Friday practice 1 for the Dutch Grand Prix. See you later, guys. Peace out, guys. Peace out. And thanks, everyone, for watching. Love every single one of you. Peace out, guys. See you later.